timeline of recovery, transformation, and growth. The tool provides data, information, and context on the past 20 years of K through 12 education in New Orleans, the changes that occurred, and the outcomes these changes helped produce. Visit nolapublicschools.com/K20 to view the tool and learn more.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says violent crime is down sharply in 2025.
The steepest statistical drop in recent memory, with fewer than 200 homicides in the first 6 months of the calendar year.
Police report homicides, shootings, and robberies have each dropped over 30%, with 40% fewer shooting victims. Prince George's County's new fire chief, Delmetria Mimi Michaelides, collapsed during a fireworks safety demo Wednesday. The incident happened at the department's training academy. She was conscious and breathing when taken to the hospital and is recovering. And Australia has canceled Kanye West's visa over his controversial song Hail Hitler. Immigration Minister Tony Burke said the rapper's history of offensive comments and promotion of Nazism led to the decision, adding, quote, "We don't need that in Australia." Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Happy Thursday. Feels more like our Friday since tomorrow is a holiday, but happy Thursday. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my finger pointing, button pressing, super producer Naren Sanders and my co-host Will Sutton.
Good morning, New Orleans.
So as y'all know, each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK. So we are excited to jump into conversation with our congressman at the 7:20 mark. But right now, I just want to inhale and exhale. Y'all need to breathe. There's a lot going on. The folk are not happy in the city of New Orleans as it relates to what is going on around Essence. We're going to talk about it all. But right now, this moment is dedicated to Ambassador Carol Moseley Braun. Trailblazer is the name of the book, Perseverance in Life and Politics. I had the distinct honor and the absolute pleasure of being in conversation with the ambassador yesterday at the Community Book Center. So shout out to Mama Vera and Mama Jen over at the Community Book Center.
Good turnout.
There are very few times that I am in awe of a person. I was in awe of her. I was staring at this woman as if well, thank God I was able to keep my composure and do my job. But she is amazing. Her temperament is amazing. All of the things she's endured and she's been through, she still has a very positive, very humane perspective on life. And her life, if you have not gotten an opportunity to get the book, please go over to Community Book Center. I have a signed copy of the book.
Of course you do.
I do. Listen, anytime that I can have the opportunity to be in conversation with trailblazing Black women, y'all can sign me up. I'm here for it. And this was such a pleasure. Her life is so amazing. And I kept saying, we need a follow-up book, because every time she spoke, she said, "Oh, this didn't make the book. This didn't make the book." I said, "Well, it sounds like we need a part two to the book." Because when you have a life, you've lived a life, and she continued to tell us she's still alive. She's not dead.
Nope.
But when you've lived a life, and there's so much that you could talk about, and so many wonderful, amazing, life-changing experiences happen, and they don't make the book, that is a life well lived. She has her name emblazoned on a school in her home state. I think, to me, that is one of the highest honors, to let our trailblazers smell their flowers while they still can. So, Ambassador Carol Moseley Braun, we love you, we celebrate you, and it was my honor and my pleasure to be in conversation with you on yesterday. So, Shout out to Community Book Center, Mama Vera, Mama Jen over there. If you have not gotten an opportunity to stop by Community Book Center, there are a number of books, something for everyone. Please go over to Bayou Road and patronize all of those Black-owned, Black-operated businesses. And so on July 18th, which is Friday, from 6 to 8, Community Bookstore will host another author, Kay Abura. I hope I said that right. Abura. Tempest is the name of the book. And that is happening Friday, July 18th at 6 p.m. I also wanted to give a shout out to Sprouts Organic Cafe. You ever been to Sprouts?
I have.
Oh my gosh.
It's a nice spot.
They're open 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. On Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And they are located at 1200. What is that? Henriette DeLille Street. It is an organic cafe. They serve breakfast, lunch. They have pizza, cold pressed juice, smoothies, pastries, coffee. Listen, I had what do you call it? A muffin cupcake. It was a pastry. I don't know what the people over at Sprout putting in it, but I could not tell it was vegan. She said there were no eggs, no butter. I said, well, what we making?
What is it?
What we make? It had icing on it.
Yeah.
It was
There's some good
delicious. Oh, and I am not exaggerating. Listen, I don't co-sign nothing that I don't really like or believe in. But Sprouts provided some of the little pastries for the attendees of the event to take part in, and I had one, and it was delicious. So shout out to the owner operator of Sprouts. Shout out to Community Book Center, and a very special shout out to Ambassador Carol Mosley Braun.
Yeah, let me for folks who weren't there and haven't gotten the book yet. A bunch of books sold even before the event and then during the event. But Carol Mosley Braun was the first Black woman elected to the U.S. Senate, and she was also ambassador to New Zealand.
And Samoa.
And
Samoa.
and Samoa. Yeah, right. This is a sister who really was breaking down walls and busting the glass ceilings. And so for folks who might be a little younger, look her up and head over to Community Bookstore and get that book. And you'll, just with the book, as Dr. Wyatt said, you learn just a piece of the story. But there's so much more to her life and what she's done, and not just the U.S. Senate. She
is an American diplomat, politician, and lawyer who represented Illinois in the United States Senate from 1993 to 1999. She was born in Chicago. She don't want me to tell you the year that she was born in Chicago. Ambassador Mosley Braun came of age in the midst of the civil rights movement and pursued a career in law. She became an Illinois state representative in 1977 and then served 4 years as recorder of deeds for Cook County, Illinois, the first African-American elected to a Cook County executive position. In 1992, she defeated both the Democratic incumbent and the Republican challenger for a seat in the U.S. Senate, becoming the first female senator from Illinois and the first African-American woman to serve in the Senate. As a senator, Ambassador Braun sponsored progressive education bills and campaigned for gun control. In 1999, she became the U.S. ambassador to New Zealand and Samoa, a position she held until 2001. Ambassador Braun ran for the Democratic nomination for president of these United States in 2004. She was interviewed for the Senate Oral History Project in 1999 and again in 2017 for the Women of the Senate Oral History Project. I cannot tell you how honored I was to be in conversation with Ambassador Braun, but there's a part of the back of the book that I want to share with you, and it says, now a new generation was picking up the torch of democracy and blazing new paths. As Vice President Kamala Harris and Ketanji Brown Jackson flanked our commander-in-chief, my heart brimmed with joy at seeing these brilliant women, Black women, taking their rightful places in the annals of history. What a blessing for me to bear witness, to be in the same space and time, breathing the rare air of progress, promise, and possibility. I have never been prouder and more humbled to be amid fellow trailblazers, knowing that each of us had the distinction of being able to proclaim, I was the first. Please, if you have not done so, please look up Ambassador Carol Mosley Braun so you can learn more about her trailblazing life. She is still on this side of earth with us. So if you have an opportunity to run across her, please hug her and thank her for her service, not only to the Senate, but for blazing a trail for us to see what is possible. Thank you so much to Mama Vera over at Community Book Center, Mama Jen, for giving me the opportunity to be in conversation with this powerhouse. I'm excited. I was in awe of her. And I think that the best is yet to come in terms of what women, Black women specifically, will do to turn the tide of what is happening in this country. So shout out
That's
to
good.
her
That's good.
for making way for that. So I just wanted to honor her in this space. But we do have some updates as it relates to the summer camp. You wanted to discuss the updates to the summer camp. This is a story that that I've been talking quite extensively to our listening audience about since last week, and this was on the heels of several programming opportunities popping up for our kids over the summer, but unfortunately, we've hit some roadblocks as our kids have not been paid. Some of the facilities, like the Hangout NOLA, have not been paid for the use of their facility. And we're just looking for answers, and we're looking for some resolve. So where are we as it relates to the update?
Yeah. So, as Dr. Wyatt said, this has been talked about at WBOK for last several days, and it's a tragedy. And the stepdad of Zion Williamson is responsible for pitching a $1.5 million deal to cover expenses at 3 locations for summer camp, supposedly for 1,000 kids. But as we were in conversation with Ray Bender yesterday, there's no way there was 1,000 kids, because he said I think he said about 50 or 60 at his place. And so multiply that by 3, even 4, and that's not anywhere close to 1,000 kids. But yesterday, after the show, Leslie Harris went into motion, as did Eric Mann over at the Dryads Y. And so they have lined up some support for part of the problem. So all of it is not resolved, but happy to see that Joni Hess from NOLA.com wrote about Leslie Harris's work with reaching out to Dryads and to Sydney Torres, who's going to donate $50,000 to the Dryads YMCA, and that's going to cover expenses for the next 4 weeks. And it also looks like Morrow will be providing some food at cost as a part of helping this. Now, that does not deal with what Brother Bender has lost at Hangout NOLA. The Dryads YMCA is offering the opportunity for any summer campers from Hangout NOLA to come out to Dryads, but that doesn't deal with the $39,000.
But why would they do that? Why would Ray allow his? Because let's be very clear here. This young man was doing this prior to to Zion Williamson's stepfather coming in with this mirage
that's
of
why
programming.
I'm bringing that up.
Yeah. So why would the solution be to bring them over to Dryads? I'm not understanding why that would be.
I think that's only part of it. And I wanted to make that clear, because that doesn't deal with the Hangout NOLA part of this, and because Hangout NOLA, like the Y, like NORD, have summer programs. They have summer programs. And in Hangout NOLA's case, this is a business, but he and his wife been really good about supporting the community in philanthropic ways as well. So this is not fixing that part of this problem.
And that's the part of the problem that I want to fix. That's the part of the problem we were amplifying here, because what I do know is Mr. Ray said that there was an agreement to pay him $40,000 for the use of his facility, of which he's only received $1,000. And so, shout out to Sydney Torres for wanting to step up and donate to the Y. Is it the Y?
The Y.
He was donating to?
Yeah, it'll go directly to the Y. It won't go to Coach Anderson.
I mean, listen, I my goal here is to make certain that all of the children who were impacted by this are made whole. And I want to make certain that all of the businesses, specifically a local Black owned and operated business who can't afford to take a $40,000 loss. It's just, it will not work. That has the potential to shutter his entire operation if he doesn't receive monies owe him. And this is not anything that is still yet to be rendered. This is for an agreement that was made on the front end. He said he stepped out on faith and his belief in what he thought was happening. But again, I'm going to continue to say, I think to his point that helped kind of move him in a direction of wanting to do this is this letter that was provided, and this guy's insistence on saying that the city council or the city of New Orleans, I should say, was on board with this. And we are now discovering that none of that is the truth. So while it's good to hear that $50K is going towards the Y, but who even operates that facility at this point? Because I don't know. Like, I didn't even know that building was even in use after the closing of that school. I don't even know who operates the Y, but I do know who operates the Hangout NOLA. And I do know that is a small business, small Black-owned business, husband and wife-owned business who can't afford to take a $40,000 loss. And I said it even before I talked to Ray, because I understand how programming works. This is my field of expertise when it comes down to education and programming. I knew right off the bat that he wasn't serving 1,000 children. Mm-hmm. I said that. And even if we multiply the highest number that Ray had, which was 80 people total, 25 on a wait list, you can add that together and multiply that times 3, and you still won't get close to 1,000. Somebody needs to hold Mr. Anderson accountable for this, and these folk need to be made whole. And this should be a red flag for the entire city of New Orleans when we have folk just walking into our communities and selling nightmares to our children. I just have a problem with the way all of this was done. And we like to pick at this idea that the folk on the ground who were harmed have to somehow go after a solution. Ray should not be running after his money. The same folk who signed on to make this thing a reality ought to be calling around and making certain that this man is made whole, that the folk over at Bricolage are made whole, and that the folk at the Y are made whole. And I don't want to turn this into a political thing where people are coming out trying to do things for political points or whatever. I just want the kids to have what the kids deserve. That is it. That is it, and that is all. I know we're in election time. I know we are fighting for favor amongst the constituents, but the children have nothing to do with political back and forth. I just want what is due the children to be paid to the kids. That is it, and that is all. And that also goes for the money that is due our school system from our city. Because while we're around here waving banners of, oh, we won the court case, oh, we won the court case, good. Now that you won the court case, go into the room with your CAO, with the mayor, with the school leaders, with whomever, and come out with an agreement that renders that money to our kids. Because let's be very clear, Will Sutton and everybody listening, that money does not belong to the city. It was never their money. So I don't understand why we're holding it hostage. I don't get it. I don't get it. So pay the kids their money. It is Thursday. Each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK. And the congressman is in town. It's Essence. It's time to laissez les bon ton rouler around here. But what I do know about our congressman, he has been fiercely fighting against this big, ugly bill. And I'm certain he has some updates for us. So on the other side of the break, I hope you keep listening because the conversation is about to get gooder. Big ER, right? Right here on WBOK 1230 AM. We will be in conversation with our congressman on the other side of the break. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by FidelityWealthManagement.com. Brandis Daniel is looking to boost diversity in the fashion world.
Department stores would carry hundreds of designers, but less than 1% of those designers were designers of color.
That's Daniel speaking to Bloomberg about a realization she had years ago about the lack of diverse talent in fashion that led her to creating Harlem's Fashion Row. It's an agency focused on building a bridge between big brands and designers of color.
We've donated over $1 million to HBCU fashion departments, thanks to companies like Gap. We've gotten incredible support from Nike and Nordstrom, and so many other companies have allowed us to be able to support these HBCU fashion departments as well as designers of color.
Through Harlem's Fashion Row, Daniel has forged relationships with popular brands and directly impacted young designers of color. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals, and it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Hi, I'm Leo Jackson, host of Sunday Gospel here every Sunday morning, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 o'clock till 2 p.m. You don't want to miss this move of God. It happens only on WBOK. You listen to all day long.
Hi, this is Cary Grant. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events and sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join us every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Cary Show.
Hello, New Orleans. I am Frank Scurlock. I am a candidate as a no-party candidate for the wonderful city of New Orleans for mayor. That's right. I'm a new kid in town. I'm not a politician. I'm simply business, and I want no nonsense. We've seen the problems. We've heard the promises. Nothing ever gets done. So go to frankscurlock4mayor.com. This is paid for by the Committee to elect Frank Scurlock.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Listen, we're going to jump right into it because our congressman is extremely busy today, and we want to get as much time with him as we can. Good morning, Congressman Carter. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
Good. Hey, good morning, my dear friends. How's everybody doing? As you can hear, my voice a little bit raspy. We've been on the floor now. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes. We can.
I'm just right outside the House floor. We are still in session. We've been going for more than 24 hours now. And this big, ugly bill is still up for a final vote. Our leader, Hakeem Jeffries, is on the floor giving a speech as we speak. So I may have to cut out on you, but did not want to cancel. Want to give you guys and all of our listeners an update of where we are. It appears that the president has bluffed and pulled off votes from some of the Republicans that had committed to voting against this big, ugly bill. The president has threatened, horse-traded, cajoled, intimidated, and did whatever he had to do. And it appears that now they have the votes to pass this big, ugly bill, a bill that's even uglier than it once was, a bill that was ugly before it went to the Senate. has come back even uglier for the people of Louisiana and for America, where veterans and people living with disabilities, children depending on SNAP, nutritional benefits, Medicaid patients, people living in nursing homes, all on the chopping block. The Congressional Budget Office, which is an independent body, projects that some 17 million people will be taken off the rolls and lose Medicaid benefits because of this evil atrocity. I could not be more proud of my Democratic colleagues. We've been working around the clock, fighting with every single tool we have. I always talk about the 3 C's. Unfortunately, it appears that we're going to come a little short today, that we've been outvoted, certainly not outworked, certainly not outvoiced. And while this is a setback, we still aren't going to quit. It's not over. We're going to continue to fight. We're just going to retool and boot up and come back and continue to push back against this evil. We're going to make sure that the voters of Louisiana never forget who voted against them, never forget those in America who will suffer. And I want to personally thank both of you for your tireless efforts to keep this information before the American people and before the people of New Orleans and Louisiana. WBOK has been a huge help in helping us keep the information. Will and Dr. Sutton, Dr. Will and Ashanta, Dr. Wyatt. It's been a long day, guys. Forgive me.
No,
for your incredible work and being my partners on keeping the people informed. You know, we listened to testimony from early this morning until early last morning to early this morning. We've been in committee, we've been on the floor, we've been dealing with this back and forth. And it looked like we had secured some votes from the Republican side that will be with us. The president literally harangued and intimidated and threatened members to the point that people who were staunchly opposed caved and flipped. This is not a democracy under the way this has been handled. This is being handled like a dictatorship. This president has no appreciation for democracy, no appreciation for the rule of law, no appreciation for independence. And all the more reason why we now have to continue to fight. Midterms are going to be coming soon. We have to go and flip some of these red seats to blue. We can certainly do it. We've got to get out. We've got to vote. We have to now really recognize that elections have consequences. As I've said repeatedly, people are going to die. Rural hospitals are going to close. People are going to have to make some tough decisions on how they maintain their health care under these cuts. Listen, this is they won the battle, but not the war, and we're going to continue to fight.
Congressman, you said it's uglier than it was before, and certainly the Medicaid piece is an important part of making it even uglier, with increasing the number of Americans who will lose benefits or being pushed away with the number of requirements that are being put in place. But what about the food? What about the food assistance and electricity prices?
All of that has been further damaged because the work that we worked so hard on creating clean energy, which is going to be savings and less expensive, those things have been cut back as well. Our efforts for environmental justice has been cut back. Our efforts to be able to expand wind and solar has been cut back. Provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act, which was the largest infusion in in environmental justice dollars that our country has seen ever, is being ratcheted back. All of the gains that we made, or many of the gains that were made during the Biden-Harris administration, were singularly attacked, and they've gone after it to try to take away those things. And that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt the people of Louisiana. It's going to hurt the people in the river parishes. It's going to hurt people throughout the state and across the country. SNAP benefits are going to be challenged because the eligibility is changing. And the other danger of the issue with Medicaid is you're going to have to reapply frequently. So people who are trying to take care of their families, undoubtedly are going to be impacted. So as we speak, we're devising plans to make sure that we are going to be diligent to help people stay on top of the paperwork to make it easier for them. We're going to work with our faith-based communities, our nonprofit organizations, and I'm going to continue to use my voice, be it on WBOK, on every other platform, social media, to make sure that we are providing resources to help people keep their paperwork current so they don't fall in the traps that Trump and his minions are planning to have even more people who are in fact eligible, but may fall through the cracks if they don't do this paperwork that has to be done 2 or 3 times a year. You know, if people had to get their driver's license renewed twice every 6 months, no one would have a driver's license.
Right.
That's what they're banking on. They're banking on people being busy, living, caring for their families, going to work, taking care of themselves, that somehow they're going to forget to do this paperwork. So I'm going to use my Thursdays with you guys to remind people as these 6-month periods come up, please remember to do your paperwork. I'm going to do more curbside services where we're going to set up my team to be available to help people do their paperwork. Listen, they've thrown us a curveball, but fortunately we know how to hit those. So we're going to keep working. What they have failed to realize is how resilient we are and how hard we work, how hard we pray, and no one's going to keep us down.
And Congressman, what do you make of Speaker Johnson in a presser? He said that we can't make everyone 100% happy on the big ugly bill. I'm calling it the big ugly bill. Of course, he didn't refer to it as that. He suggests that that you guys give up your personal preferences to come together for the greater good, is what he said in a presser. What do you make of that commentary?
That tells me that they've made a choice that the richer 0.1% of Americans are more important than working Americans, more important than veterans, more important with people living with disabilities, more important than our children who need SNAP benefits, more important than our senior citizens living in assisted living facilities. That's what that means. That means that they have made a conscious decision that robbing the poor to give to the rich is a priority of this administration and of this speaker. And that's shameful. That's criminal. And the mere fact that they have sold their souls to Donald Trump tells you who they really have an allegiance to. Listen, I raised my right hand. I put my hand on the Bible. I raised my right hand. I took an oath before man and God to serve my community, to honor my Constitution, to honor the rule of law. I'm not sure what they did, because apparently they've thrown out the needs of the people. They've thrown out the tenets of the Constitution and the rule of law. And so when he says that, that means they've tightened their belts to make sure that they are going to, or I should say they tightened our belts to make sure that they can loosen the belts of the wealthy.
Congressman, one of the things I don't understand is how Speaker Johnson and so many other Republicans for years can rail against Democrats for doing government support to help people. And their argument is we can't afford to add to the national debt. And this is not, with this approval, it wouldn't go up by millions, but trillions. I don't understand that. What's the political rationale for something like that?
Absolute hypocrisy. For those fiscal hawks, as they call themselves, who rail against and say that we cannot continue spending into the future, that we're spending into the future and hurting our economy and hurting our creditworthiness, they threw all of that out the window. Those who pound on the tables just a week ago, pound on the tables and say they could never vote for this bill with its ballooning debt ceiling. Guess what? When it came back from the Senate, it's higher than it was when it went to the Senate. Yet they voted for it. And they voted for it, I am absolutely convinced, not because they believe in it. I think they still are against it, but because they're afraid of Donald Trump. They're afraid of whatever the threats were made to them by Donald Trump. They're afraid of losing their offices. They're afraid of being primaried by Donald Trump. But guess what? The American people aren't stupid, and we're not going to let them forget. They're going to lose anyway, because we're going to make sure we're going to go to every one of those districts across this country and remind the American people what they did to them, that they sold out the American people to curry favor with this president because he's threatened them. He's threatened to take them out at election time. And you know what? Shame on them. Be a man, be a woman, stand up for the people that elected you. Don't run and hide like some little chump because the president said boo and you jumped. The American people deserve to know who did it. We're going to say it. The leader, Hakeem Jeffries, has been on the floor now for 3 hours, and he's calling them out by name, and we're going to call them out by name. And we're going to go and remind the people that they sold out. Some of these members have as much as 70% of their constituents that are dependent on Medicaid, but they still voted for this bill. That's unconscionable. Mike Johnson has 40%.
40%.
And he pushed this. You know, you got members that have 50, 60, 70% of their districts. Unacceptable.
And House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries also said that children will be hurt, families will be hurt, people with disabilities will be hurt, women will be hurt by what is an all-out assault on the health care of the American people. And that sentiment is being echoed by former President Barack Obama, who also came out and said more than 16 million Americans are at risk of losing their health care because Republicans in Congress are rushing to pass a bill that will cut federal funding for Medicaid and weaken the Affordable Care Act. With so many leaders, including on the other side of the aisle, staunchly against this, how do you reconcile as a constituent the turn that they've made to now say we fully support President Trump and his aim to cut all of these vital resources for the most needed people in this country, and people are still on board with that? How do you reconcile that, Congressman?
You reconcile it by coming to the conclusion that their fear of Donald Trump, their desire to please Donald Trump, is greater than their love for their constituency. Their fear of Donald Trump and their need to be petted by Donald Trump is greater than the desire to do the right thing for the people that sent them to Washington. They don't deserve to serve in Congress. They don't deserve to have an elective office. Donald Trump is going to be gone, and then they're going to be stuck. But they're going to be gone too, because they failed the most basic test. Take care of the people that elected you. And they have failed pitifully. So you can't reconcile. There's no way to reconcile the actions that they've taken. We're talking about people who have been stressed all week. They have been hiding. They've been running. Trump has harangued them and forced them all to come over to the White House, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, and he has beaten them down and got them to vote against something that they have sworn they were going to vote against. Rather, it was because of what it was going to do to veterans, what it was going to do to senior citizens, what it was going to do to working families, what it was going to do to people with disabilities, what it was going to do with SNAP benefits, or all of the above. Or for those who were adamant that this spending into the future and raising the debt limit and increasing our national debt by some $5 trillion, guess what? They threw it all out the window. Why? Because Trump told them to. Because Trump told them to, a man who is a self-avowed racist, a man that's attacking diversity, equity, inclusion, a man that's attacking the gains that we've made as Americans, a man that wants to push back against reproductive freedom against women, a man that wants to attack our educational systems and take away resources where we can educate our people, a man that wants to go after African Americans in leadership roles and go after them in higher education. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. And so we have to fortify ourselves. We have to stand up. We have to build up, and we cannot quit. We cannot retreat. I will tell you from the Congressional Black Caucus standpoint, for which I'm proud to be the first vice chair, we are not going to retreat. This is a blip on the screen. It's a bad one, but it ain't over because we're never going to quit. And we're going to go right back to the drawing board, and we're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to fight. We're going to recapture the House in 2026. We're going to get the House back. Hakeem Jeffries is going to be our Speaker of the House, and we're going to start working on blocking all of this crazy stuff. So, listen, we're going to take this lick today because we're outvoted, but we're not beaten, and we're not downtrodden. This is a blip on the screen, but this is round one in a 15-round bout. This is not a knockout.
Yeah, it's almost, I thank you for your service because the rest of the folk who represent Louisiana on a national level, I'm just not understanding how in a state like ours, anybody can vote to support the dismantling of much needed programs for the most vital communities. And much of those communities lie in their constituency, and they voted for this. I just don't understand. I really and truly thought that we had the votes. I really thought we did. And then I was watching the updates all morning, and I saw right before 7, things started to take a turn, and folk were bowing out after they said that they
well,
would.
the reality is they don't even care. The rural hospitals are going to close. And let me tell you what happens. When I was in the state senate, we advanced and expanded Medicaid. With the expansion of Medicaid, we were able to put tens of thousands of people on the rolls. And we were able to, with that expansion, also open the rural hospitals. Guess what's going to happen? The reverse is going to happen. When you take people off the rolls, when you take away Medicaid, people are going to come off the rolls. When people come off the rolls, rural hospitals are going to close. Clinics are going to close. People are going to have greater strain on emergency rooms, which is going to affect not only Medicaid, it's going to affect Medicare. Not only will it affect Medicare, it's going to affect people that have paid insurance because it's going to put a strain. It's very basic. If you don't allow me to get preventive care, you're going to see me in an emergency room. And you can't turn me away in the emergency room, which means you're going to put a greater strain on the whole system. So the trickle effect of people thinking, oh, that's not going to affect me. I got my own insurance. Yes, it will. And that's the short-sightedness of this deal.
And Congressman, Senator Bill Cassidy wrote victory in caps. The Senate just passed President Trump's...
Let me tell you what I want to put in caps for him. Sell out.
Go ahead.
Listen, go ahead. I'd rather you say it. Go ahead, Congressman. What you say?
Absolute sellout. Absolute sellout. He's selling the Louisiana people out, trying to save his seat because he is trying to beg forgiveness for Donald Trump. Donald Trump will never forgive him, and he will be unelected. He is an absolute sellout. What he did, he had a chance to do the right thing. He is the chair of the committee and had every right to stand with the people of Louisiana. What did he do instead? He's trying to save his hide by currying favor with Donald Trump. The people of Louisiana will not reward him.
And I think when you talk about sellout, we got to talk about Congressman Steve Scalise and the Speaker. They released a joint statement. Where they do that at? Right. A joint statement about the bill passing. They came together and created a joint statement.
They have all turned their backs on the needs of the people of Louisiana, including their own constituents. They've made a conscious decision that the wishes of Donald Trump is greater than the wishes of the people that elected them. And as Mitch McConnell said, and I think they're all banking on this, Mitch McConnell had the audacity to say, oh, they'll get over it. Man, what are you talking about? He said, oh, they'll get over it. And that's what they're banking on. But guess what Troy Carter's not going to let you do? I ain't going to let you forget. I'm not going to let you get over it. We're going to remind them over and over and over and over again. This will be the worst vote they have ever cast in their entire career. I promise you.
This is
their legacy. We're never going to let them forget it.
This is their legacy. This vote is their legacy, and I think it's awful. I know we have to go to break, Congressman. I don't know if we can keep you on the other side of the break because I know you're busy. Do you want us to try to hold you on?
No, I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna have to leave so I can get back on the floor. Right. But I wanted to come and give this live report right outside the House floor where I'm literally a stone's throw from where the leader is addressing the Congress. I'm going to go back inside, but I want to thank you guys. I want to thank our listening audience. And as painful as this day is, let me offer just a little bit of hope. We're never going to quit. We're not a quitting people. We're going to fight this damn thing all the way through. We're going to refortify our efforts. We're going to fight even harder. And just hang in there. We're going to keep fighting, watching, and praying. God bless you. God bless WBOK.
Thank you, Congressman. We appreciate you.
Stay
Keep
in
us
the fight.
posted. Have a blessed one. Listen, we want to thank our Congressman Troy Carter for stepping out of an active vote that is happening right now to speak with us and to avail himself to us. We have to go to break. When we come back, we'll share the statement from Senator Bill Cassidy and the joint statement from Congressman Steve Scalise and Speaker Mike Johnson as it relates to the big ugly bill. Y'all stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
It's a hot and mostly dry Thursday with highs in the low to mid-90s and feels like temperatures near 100. A few scattered showers and storms are possible for the afternoon. For the 4th of July and this weekend, expect typical summer heat with highs in the 90s and a few pop-up storms each afternoon, but not expecting a washout for the fireworks. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Get ready, New Orleans. Join us for the inaugural Blessed 26 Golf Classic, July 5th at Joe Bartholomew Golf Course, 6514 Congress Drive. It's a four-man scramble format with a 9 a.m. shotgun start. Enjoy great food, music, and a chance to win a brand new car. Register now at blessed26.ticketspice.com. Save the date, Saturday, July 5th for the Blessed 26 Golf Classic at Joe Bartholomew Golf Course. For more information, please call 504-284-9985. See ya on the green.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Happy Thursday, everyone. If you are just joining the conversation, you missed a really important update from our Congressman Troy Carter. The vote in the House for the big ugly bill is happening as we speak. According to our congressman, they will not have enough votes, although they believe they had secured enough votes to stop this thing in the House. our congressman said that the current president was bringing folk individually in twos and threes to the White House to basically threaten them to change their stance. And I know that to be true because there were several Republicans who were staunchly opposing the bill, who said that they would not support it, they would not vote for it. And as of this morning, I was watching the updates as I was headed to work in real time, because there's a real time tracker on for updates as it relates to the bill, and I was watching the folk turn coat on this bill. And so I wanted to share Congressman Steve Scalise and Speaker Mike Johnson's joint statement as it relates to the bill. It says the House will work quickly to pass the One Big Beautiful Bill that enacts President Trump's full America First agenda by the 4th of July. The American people gave us a clear mandate, and after 4 years of Democrat failure, we intend to deliver without delay. Republicans were elected to do exactly what this bill achieves: secure the border, make tax cuts permanent, unleash American energy dominance, restore peace through strength, cut wasteful spending, and return to a government that puts America first. This bill is President Trump's agenda, and we are making it law. House Republicans are ready to finish the job and put the One Big Beautiful Bill on President Trump's desk in time for Independence Day. And make no mistake, this was a message. They're sending a message to have this signed into law by July 4th, which is why the current person that occupies the White House has so much negative things to say about Juneteenth. He did not want to celebrate it. He does not think it needs to be a holiday. All sorts of negative things. Didn't acknowledge it in any positive way. But he wants to send a clear message on the 4th of July with this big ugly bill. And I think it's very cowardice of Congressman Steve Scalise and Speaker Mike Johnson. They don't even have separate brains. They had to put the little modicum of intelligence that they had together to come up with this foolishness of a paragraph. Because every person across this country was promised that they would not cut Medicare. They would not touch Medicaid. Every Republican representative was going all around the country insisting that that was not true, that that was a lie of the left, and people were just trying to fearmonger. And you notice they didn't say anything about that in their paragraph, because this is how they misinform their constituents. This is how they mislead them. They didn't say anything about it. They also didn't say anything about these huge millions and billions of dollars in tax cuts that will go to the wealthy. They didn't say anything about that either in their joint statement, because certainly they share a brain. Steve Scalise and Speaker Mike Johnson. Is shameful. That is why we say we're from New Orleans. We're not from Louisiana, because this is not a New Orleans thing. This is a Louisiana thing. And the folk who voted for this know exactly what we mean. Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy wrote, "Victory," in all caps. The Senate just passed President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, which includes My Educational Choice for Children Act. No child should be trapped in a failing school. This is the first federal school choice program in American history, and it will finally give parents the freedom to choose the best education for their children. I remember that lie that was sold to the citizens of New Orleans. I remember it clearly, clearest day. No child should be trapped in a failing school. I agree with you, sir. I agree that no child should be trapped in a failing school, but no senator ought to set up failing schools for children that they don't believe deserve excellent schools. No senator should do that either. And what you don't tell people is this will starve public education of resources to give it to private institutions. That's what you should say in this freedom to choose that you have going on. This is the misinformation that y'all spew. This is how you mislead voters. And this shameful for a Louisiana senator to not only lie and mislead, but to do so at the expense of the most vulnerable communities of people. People will starve to death. People will die because they don't have health care coverage. And it's going to be the very same people that voted for this. That's the sad part. That's the scary part. So we're going to see in 6 months after the passing of this bill.
We're going to see sooner than that.
We're going to see.
One of the things that's going to happen is that this is more than 900 pages, almost 1,000 pages. And some of these changes from the Senate to the House, there's no way they read all of those additions.
Well, we know they didn't. They admitted that they did it.
That's right. Well, that was previously. It's been changed since then. So there's more stuff.
If they didn't read the first iteration that was shorter.
There's more stuff that's in there. And so that information will start trickling out. and we'll find out more about that. So, it's really a devastating day leading into Independence Day. So I understand why they wanted to set the 4th of July. And as Dr. White would say, let's be clear. There is no required deadline of July 4th. There is not. There is not anything in our government that requires this to be done by the 4th of July. They don't want more time to talk about it. They don't want you to know more about what they're doing. They want to get it through on this devastation day, celebrate on the 4th of July and make that part of their freedom, and then let us find out about the pain in the coming days.
This will cut roughly $1.3 trillion from health care and food assistance for families and gives roughly $1.3 trillion in tax breaks to people making over $500,000. If you've been watching the back and forth on the House floor, the Democrats were going to the mic and they were saying they would like to make the provision for anyone making over $10 million. and the Republicans said no. The next Democrat came to the mic and they said, well, we want to make the provision that anybody making over $100 million. And the Republicans said no. And then the last one said, well, we want to make the provision for any person making over $500 million. And they said no. And the guy said the no's have it. So the Democrats were trying at every stage to say, well, look, let's try to work this out. We can do it, but let's do it and cut it off for people making this much. Who needs tax breaks if they're making $500 million a year? It's insane what we're allowing to happen here. It also says this is the largest cut to nutritional assistance in American history, jeopardizing SNAP for 40 million people, including 16 million children, 8 million seniors, 4 million people with disabilities, and 1.2 million veterans. I'm wondering if these rural communities, because remember, Will, we were talking about people came out, had never voted before, parts of the country I'd never even heard of. They showed up to the polls, apparently, according to the data, right?
Yep.
But these are the very people who this thing is going to hit, and it's going to hit them hard. It's going to hit them hard. But what I do take solace in knowing is that it's in our DNA to figure it out. We are skilled at making a whole lot of something out of a whole lot of nothing. So to the 92% of us who understood the assignment, all I can say is let's pray for this entire country, because this thing is going to hit, and it's going to hit hard. We have to go to break. But when we come back, we'll talk to Dr. Eric Griggs and Dr. Lauren Powell talking about the Jazz Brunch featuring various health topics for women during Essence Fest weekend. Y'all stay with us right here. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
New Schools for New Orleans, along with New Orleans Public Schools and the Cowell Institute, are excited to announce the launch of a new digital tool on the data dashboard. New Orleans Public Schools, 20 years later, a timeline of recovery, transformation, and growth. The tool provides data, information, and context on the past 20 years of K-12 education in New Orleans, the changes that occurred, and the outcomes these changes helped produce. Visit nolapublicschools.com/K20 to view the tool and learn more.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. House Republicans narrowly advanced President Trump's big beautiful bill overnight, 219 to 213. After hours of GOP wrangling, Democrats, including Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, opposed the sweeping spending plan.
The one big ugly bill will rip nutritional benefits away from millions of Americans, including children.
A final vote is expected today. Former President Obama is urging Americans to oppose President Trump's big, beautiful bill, warning it could strip health care from over 16 million people. The bill slashes Medicaid by $1 trillion and weakens the Affordable Care Act. And the July 4th travel rush is breaking records. TSA says June 27th and 29th set all-time air travel highs. AAA predicts over 72 million Americans will travel 50 miles or more during the holiday stretch from June 28th through July 6th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
are back. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta Wide. Shout out to my finger point button pressing teaching producer, Nara Sanders, and my co-host, D. Will Sutton. Hey, Will.
Good morning, New Orleans.
Listen, if you're just joining the conversation, you missed a good one with our congressman. Each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here on WBOK. But right now we have another doctor in the house, Dr. Eric Griggs and Dr. Lauren Powell. You know I'm going to always put a little extra on the women because we make everything possible. I mean, let's just be clear here. But they're here to talk to us about the Jazz Brunch featuring various health topics for women during Essence Weekend. This is a powerful weekend, bringing together all the shades, shapes, sizes of all beautiful black women all throughout the city. So this is necessary at this time. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. This is your first time here?
Thank you. Yes, it is.
It's a bell. It's a bell, first time. So welcome. And I'll give you the floor. You can talk to us about the Jazz Brunch. When will it be? What time will it be? Where will it be?
Yeah.
Tell us all of the details.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Fellow Xavierite, I hear.
XU, yes, indeed.
I'm so excited to be here and very excited to be partnering with the National Medical Association. I work for a company called Biogen, where we are all about making scientific breakthroughs happen. And we want that to impact all people. And we know that there are disease areas that disproportionately impact Black women. And what better way for us to bring some awareness to that and to meet Black women where they are than to be here at Essence, where we'll be hosting a jazz brunch, and there's also an event happening today. But the brunch is a chat and chew. So we're literally going to chat and we're going to chew. We're going to come back and chat some more about various topics, among them lupus, which is an autoimmune disorder that disproportionately impacts Black women. And so we want to have some meaningful conversations with our community in a place that's like really comfortable for them.
So is that the inspiration behind the creation of the Women's Health and Wellness Jazz Brunch, to bring that information to the forefront? We talk to a lot of medical professionals here on the air. We have partnerships with many of them around our city. And a lot of the times the conversation always goes back to the education of it all. A lot of the times there's a fear with knowing that something may not be what you want it to be, but it's the fear of knowing it.
Right.
Some of them suffer just not knowing it, think it's better not to not know. And so do you think that the inspiration behind the Jazz Brunch is to just bring the information to the people, to educate them?
Absolutely. It's bringing information to people. It's making information accessible, right? So it's not that we can't get information, right? People can Google things, people can look stuff up, but sometimes it's complex in how it's shared. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily, you can't understand it. There's like Dr. Eric and I will talk about like how complicated sometimes medical terminology, medical jargon is. It's different when I'm sitting next to my sister, I'm sitting next to my girlfriend, and we're having an open conversation.
And let me tell you something, Doc. I'd rather come to you and ask you because Google will have you thinking you're dying.
Absolutely.
And no, I would rather talk to the professional. So we want them to get access to the information. And I appreciate you putting this opportunity together to get that information. So how does holding this event during Essence Festival weekend enhance its significance and its reach?
Well, we know that Essence draws a number, hundreds of thousands of Black women to New Orleans, and for good reason, to celebrate, to have a good time. And we think that health should be a part of that, right? That we don't have to silo when we talk about our health and wellness, when we talk about our bodies. That should be a part of everything that we're doing all the time. And so this certainly helps maximize the reach. And then also doing things in a non-traditional way. I really am so excited that, you know, we're going to meet in a golf sort of venue, and we're going to have like more of a brunch atmosphere. Brand new. I haven't been there yet, so I'm excited about that. And we're going to spend some time together, but in a way that will hopefully pour back into Black women who certainly pour so much out into the community.
We're not gonna leave you out, Doc. I know you feel. I know you're over there, like, but you know, we have to take advantage of. This is her first time here, so we have to censor her real quickly. But we're gonna pause you for a second. Don't get in your feelings. Why is it important to have culturally specific spaces? I'm sorry, Doc. Focused on Black women's health and wellness.
Well, I think, you know, the healthcare system, we already know, was not necessarily created to operate, to work for Black people, but especially for Black women. So it is essential for us in our longevity, our health and well-being, that we have spaces where we can feel that we can be ourselves, that we can have honest and clear conversation, that we can receive information that's potentially going to change our lives. And also, Black women are messengers. So when we share, you know, a health message to a community of Black women, it will spread. And so I think there's a great opportunity here, and we're so excited to just share information.
So, Dr. Griggs, this is like a national effort, but this event is happening locally. You and others come and talk to us about health all the time so that we can do better. But we live in New Orleans, and we love the food, and we love the drink, and we love all the things. Why is it important for our local people to connect with this particular event with all the other activities going on at Essence this week?
So first of all, I'm going to level set. This is where I got my start in 2011. Not sure how old you were in 2011, but this is where I actually fell back into medicine when I tried to leave because I grew frustrated with the system.
Yeah.
Our people were not able, we live in a state of cortisol. Cortisol, remember, I talk about stress soup again. 15 years, been doing this, beating this drum forever, and we're finally realizing nobody's coming to get us. We have to come get us. And in doing so, because of traditional distrust in the medical system, we don't want to talk about anything healthy. What happened? Well, died of natural causes. Oh, I died of a heart attack. We're finding out more and more things about these autoimmune diagnoses of exclusion, which can lead to frustration, anxiety, and depression. They're in our families if we would have these conversations. You know, a platform, again, since 2011 that started here, get checked, get fit, get moving. And it starts with get checked, climbing your family tree, and being comfortable having conversations. We do traditional health fairs all the time. And typically you'll see the numbers of the people that are working the fairs because nobody wants to hear that because it might be bad news. What better, more novel way than to find a celebration of African-American women doing their thing, like you said, that have traditionally, over the years, the decades, the centuries, helped lead health in our communities, more so, even in my own community. But what we have to do is take those things that are scary, these big cortisol 15-letter words and break them down.
Yes.
Chat and chew on the little bits and embrace them, and then take them back to our families and our communities, and it can change generations moving forward. You're talking about new things, which right across the street, right over here, the beautiful new facility that's been given to our community, so the people will come out and hear it. It's new, it's novel, it's great. Got beautiful black women chatting and chewing, and of course, everyone wants to know what we're talking about. And the other thing that we know is if we give it to black women, the change will happen. Mm-hmm. The conversations will happen. The stigma will be reduced because you're forced to have these hard conversations because we're tired of lying to each other at the funeral saying we need to get together. Mm-hmm. We need to get together. No, let's get together and have some fun and inject a lot of health because we have to come for us.
So who is this open to?
It's open to the public.
Yes.
It is the public. I'll punt back over.
It's open to anyone. It's open to the public. We have a panel happening today that's all about maternal health, and that is this afternoon at 4 at the
4
Shops.
o'clock at the Shop, the CAC, 900 Camp Street. And we all know the travesty of African-American women and child and maternal health, regardless of. As a matter of fact, the ladies in this room are the ones that are most at risk, ironically. Education, the higher resourced, it doesn't matter. We know it happened to Serena. We know it's happened to some of our sisters before. We need to be advocates for ourselves and make sure that we take advocates with us. But you need to understand the playbook so you can know how to protect yourself.
Another topic that'll be discussed there, I think, also is postpartum depression, which is not, readily discussed really in the Black community. And for so long, it was thought of as just a white woman's disease. But postpartum depression also impacts Black mothers.
Well, so I'm a new grandfather.
Congratulations!
My big babies have twins. They'll be They'll be 9 months next week.
Twins.
But the thing, the postpartum depression in going through this and watching my daughter, I'm paying attention to why it exists. It's, hey, you're mommy. Babies get here, and then mommy's over here. And then there's the connection with the child wanting to protect them. But nobody talks about them. So a lot of times, moms suffer in silence unnecessarily. Yes. And traditionally, because of what's been inherited, I was raised with my grandparents, they're told, look, nothing wrong with you. Something wrong. Go lay down. Where the baby's at? So it's conversations, again, making these conversations into civil discourse, so a change can happen. And the best place to do it is where the brilliant, beautiful Black women are in control and can learn how to dictate the conversations when they leave here. Something special. You come to New Orleans to have a good time, but you're going to come back a better person.
Yes.
So are we also, Doc, talking about the advocacy part of it? Because we watch situations like what happened in Georgia with the woman who was basically used as an incubator to bring a baby to term, and then they pull. And we hear stories about women who are not believed when they're talking about their pain, especially during pregnancy, and they're forced to have cesareans when when they're not listened. So I have my own personal story with it. So are we also talking about the advocacy piece on what types of questions to ask? Because sometimes it's just about knowing the right thing to say.
Absolutely.
In the room with the physician.
Absolutely, it's about that. I think the more we can demystify the doctor-patient experience, like the more empowered people will be to ask questions, to do their own research, to not take one opinion, right? To advocate and to go to different physicians, go to different facilities if you have to, go to a different state if you have. I mean, like, people do that, right? But I don't know that our community is always empowered to know that that is our option as well. And sometimes we don't have the power and privilege to do that. And so I think we need to know there's a full spectrum of ways to advocate for yourself and to advocate for loved ones as well.
You touched on the word empower, and that's the reason we do this. When someone talks about a condition, talk about suffering in silence, right? You said you have your own story. Yes. How much better do you feel when you happen to be sitting beside, you could be at church, you could be someone that you're in a club with or whatever, and they say, I went through that same thing. Now all of a sudden you feel empowered. What I'm getting to is that you can fire your doctor. It happens all the time. It should happen. If it doesn't, if the doctor says something that really doesn't jive with you, because at the end of the day, you're the MVP and you're the whole team. I got to go and I got to feel comfortable going and being as vulnerable. This is the most vulnerable that you can be when you're sharing your health. If you don't feel comfortable, fire him. And if you need to take someone with you, have the conversations. Find someone else. How much better does it feel when you meet someone that's been through the exact same thing? It's getting comfortable having these conversations and continuing the conversations to the point that if we have to look up like we are in here and be like, hey, you're fired.
But I think that's a good point in terms of why representation matters. Because when you're in a room with the person that wears the white coat, you feel like they have the expertise. You don't know, what you're supposed to be asking for or the terminology to use. I can remember an instance whereby when one of my follow-ups, there was a black nurse behind the white doctor, and the doctor was talking, and the nurse was like, she didn't say a word. She just nodded her head, and I said, "No, sir, I don't think I want to do that." But just her being there to do that for me, because I don't know. My expertise is education. My expertise is not medical. I didn't know what to say in that moment, because you want to be able to trust your healthcare provider. But I know when something doesn't feel right for me. And I think part of what we're doing here is empowering people to entrust that thing that doesn't feel right to them, to then be empowered enough to speak up and say, well, I don't think that I want to do that right now.
And then connecting in that non-traditional environment, like a chat and chew, like, girl, I'm going with you.
Yeah.
Say what you said to her in front of me, because I know it's not right, and you're fired.
And that's important too for us, like as a biotech company. Like, we need to hear these conversations, right? We need to hear the challenges that patients go through, because that should inform how we're making decisions. And so I'm excited that we're going to be a part of this. I think on the Saturday, so we talked about Friday, or I don't know what day it is.
Today at 4.
Okay, yes. So we talked about that. Saturday, we then have the full day of lots of different dialogue, including sexual health all the way down to like lupus and
Manny Fresh at the day party. There's a day party. We're going to bring it in the right way.
You got to leave with that.
Yeah, my bad.
We have to leave with that. Yes. Yes.
No, I appreciate that. Because I think that's also another topic that is almost like stigmatized in our community, that the sexual health of our community. There's a rise in HIV cases going on right here in the city of New Orleans because folks just simply don't know their status. And it goes back to the fear of knowing. So I think that what you're doing is important. I think we have to remove a lot of the stigma around health, full stop,
in general,
period,
yes.
right? And to just get to understanding our bodies and what doesn't feel right. And as you age, things are supposed to change naturally, but we have to know and understand that change. Yes, sir.
And from the biotech perspective specifically, you talk about HIV. There is a shot. They're coming out with a shot that's preventative for HIV. That's a 6-month shot you take twice a year. We don't know unless we ask. And we saw it during COVID. Like, it was a joke at the very beginning that black people don't get COVID. Then once we found out and we realized, we jumped on board the biotech train. And in New Orleans, we led the world in how to flatten the curve. So if we give the information, and I'm going to lead with Manny Fresh, and we're having a good time, and we have conversations about health, we can go back empowered to know what questions to ask to help push the envelope and be at the forefront of technology instead of lagging behind.
And to that point, one of the other things we will talk about is clinical trials and in participation in clinical trials. Both the historic injustices and contemporary injustices that continue to haunt our community, quite frankly, and to impact mistrust and the lack of trust, which is rightfully so. But clinical trials is a part of the continuum of care. Like, there's a real opportunity to potentially change the disease you may have or potentially treat the disease you have through participation in clinical trials. Now, ethically so, right? There have been a lot of things that have been done to make clinical trials more ethical and safe. But this is also vital information for our communities. There are cutting edge breakthroughs scientifically happening every day that our community is not a part of.
And I think for me, when I think about, we had Congressman Troy Carter on earlier in the morning, and we were talking about they're undoubtedly going to pass the big ugly bill, right? And I think things like you're doing the jazz brunch and just coming together, like the medical community coming together to educate its own community. We're going to have to start to see more pop-up opportunities like this, because millions and millions of people are getting ready to be stripped of their health care. And people are going to die. People are being stripped of invaluable resources. And so what does this say for in your field? Like, what can we do as a community? Because I believe we have the expertise in our community. There's somebody that does something in every facet of our community where we can pool our resources together to take care of our community. So do you see you guys having the opportunity to do pop-up style medical information, advice, bringing technology, whatever we need to bring to take care of community, because that's who we are at the essence of us. Do you see that being an opportunity when this bill undoubtedly passes?
I can't speak to the bill, but I can say that yes, we will absolutely be back. Like, this is not a one and done, and I think that has to be a part of community connection in general. Is that, like, we can't just do this once and then be like, okay, that was cute, right? Like, there has to be consistent touch points. So I do think that that's an opportunity. I think that the National Medical Association and working, in partnership with them is an opportunity for us to continue to do this. But I just think it has to be consistent, because you're absolutely right.
So I can speak to it because this is the work that I've done for the last 25 years and continue to do. When I was beating the drums with the hula hoops by myself, high-functioning societies are child-centered, adult-governed, elderly-ruled. High-functioning communities can be, if you want them successful, you want them community-centered, student-governed, and elder-ruled, professionally ruled. If we take this as an opportunity, we use the community opportunity to bring them in and demystify it, and we understand our lane. We use the students because everybody loves the students. We want to help our babies, and we need to. It shows the pipeline, the vertical mentoring, but we use that to empower the community and sit back as a resource. Coming to places like this. You two leaders in the community saying the same words. You just said the same thing. With regards to that big, beautiful bill, when the administrations change, everyone that comes say, Doc, well, what are we going to do? We'll do the same thing we did everything. It's just that we need to take a more ground level approach. We use our resources. Those of us that went to get the medical expertise, we need to talk to people that are voices of the community, give it to you so you can give it back to us in a way that's palatable for everyone else to help spread the message. And it's easy. Hey, let's go sit and talk. When was the last time you went to the doctor? You have lupus. So did you ask your doctor this and this? Do you want me to go with you? And just spread this isn't new for us. None of this is new for us.
The clinical trial piece, I would just use myself as an example. I'm very interested in helping, but I don't know who to trust.
Yes.
So it's like, do I have this one that just came across my feed?
Yes.
And do I go there? Or should I go to some that maybe my sister knows about? I don't know. So this
that's why you have us.
Yeah.
That's right.
But you're raising what maybe a lot of people might feel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And how do
Because a lot of people, I'm just not doing it.
Yes.
I've gotten over that hump, but not so sure.
Yeah.
But this is happening Saturday. Do people need to register, or do they just need to show up?
Yes, they can register. I believe that we have a QR code that we'll share, so
great.
folks can actually register.
Okay.
But it is open to the public, so
All
we
right.
want people
Well,
to come out.
let me make sure I understand. Open to the public. So men
Yes,
can come
absolutely.
and support the women.
Absolutely.
Come and support the women.
What do you think? That's the only way we're gonna get to the doctor. We gotta. You better come. You better hit us.
Before we go, because we have to go, I want to thank you both for being here. But I think the takeaway for me is what you said, Doc. I think just like when we go to the polls to vote, how the jargon is so above our folks' head, they don't understand what they're voting for. I think that feels like that in the medical space as well. So when you can talk to professionals who bring it down and make it very plain, concise, and simple, and not that you're talking, at people, but you're talking to them because they're a part of the conversation as well. That's how I like to feel when I go in any space, that I'm patronizing any space. I don't want to feel like you're talking at me. Talk to me, because at the end of the day, it's just a partnership to make certain that I'm healthy.
Yes.
So while I want to trust you, I also want to be comfortable having an opinion about the things you're saying to me.
But the onus is on us.
Y'all make that possible for us.
We have to partner with you, the experts in communication and education, because I could say sternocleidomastoid and systemic lupus erythematosus, and you're like,
I don't get any of it.
Doc, that ain't gonna work. So I
talk to me like I'm two.
Ask you, how do I better say?
And I think that's why representation matters, because we can speak a language to each other that nobody else has to understand. You make it clear to me, I understand it. That's the win in it. So thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for this opportunity to share and to bring the medical advice and expertise to the community.
All 50,000 Black doctors, the NMA, we're here.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
If this was your first time here, you look good.
Thank
you.
you.
Had good information.
Thank you, Xavier.
And you have to, you have to promise to come back and
sure
keep
will.
us updated. So I want to thank Dr. Eric Griggs and Dr. Lauren Powell for joining us this morning, talking about the Jazz Brunch featuring various health topics for women during Essence Week. And listen, she's a Xavierite, y'all, so y'all show her some love in the chat. We appreciate you for being here. Thank you too, Doc. He's always here. He's a resident expert here. But look, I hope y'all keep listening, because we're going to keep talking talk and stay with us on the other side of the break. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
Real issues, real talk, real solutions. Miss an episode of The Reality Check? You can catch every episode anytime. Search WBOK Media on your favorite podcast app to tap the bold commentary, real-time reactions, and powerful perspectives from the people and leaders shaping our city. Download, share, and rate it 5 stars because the real ones always stay informed.
Good morning. I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. Leaders of some of the summer camp sites forced to close because of non-payments have received some of the money they were owed. The camps were forced to end early, impacting hundreds of campgoers. The camps were sponsored by Lee Anderson, the stepdad of Pelicans player Zion Williamson. Bricolage says they received a check yesterday for 2 of the 3 weeks they were owed. Anderson says he also gave a check yesterday to Dryads YMCA. Leaders at Hangout NOLA say they were told they would be paid sometime today. And today, we expect to get more information on that gruesome stabbing incident that took place near the Walmart on Tchoupitoulas last month. Today, the NOPD says they will release body camera video of the incident when an alleged shoplifter, the suspect, stabbed himself to death on Jackson Avenue. And the Essence Festival of Culture officially kicks off today with hundreds of thousands of visitors making their way to the Crescent City. And local leaders say they will be safe in our city. Barricades and barriers are some safety measures visitors will see during the crowded weekend. New Orleans Police Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick says there will also be increased staffing during the weekend. This comes on the heels of the New Year's Day terror attack and most recently a high-profile jail escape. Kirkpatrick promised resources will not be tied up as they work with state and federal partners. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK. Have a great day.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month, we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Hello, New Orleans. I am Frank Scurlock. I am a candidate as a no-party candidate for the wonderful city of New Orleans for mayor. That's right. I'm a new kid in town. I'm not a politician. I'm simply business, and I want no nonsense. We've seen the problems. We've heard the promises. Nothing ever gets done. So go to frankscurlock4mayor.com. This is paid for by the Committee to Elect Frank Scurlock.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank. There's freedom here.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Happy Thursday, everyone. Shout out to our interns behind the glass holding it all together, and my co-host, Will Sutton. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta White. If you're just joining, you missed an informative conversation with Dr. Eric Griggs. He's our resident here, y'all, and Dr. Lauren Powell. It's her first time on the show talking to us about the Jazz Brunch featuring various health topics for women during Essence Weekend. I had my own little moment, y'all. It took me back to a moment that I had in terms of healthcare, medical care, being able to trust your physician and trusting in the folk who say they have your best interests at heart. I went through a very traumatic thing because my baby's a Katrina baby. I was pregnant during Katrina, and I went through a very, very traumatic thing giving birth to him in the state of Mississippi. And I remember it like it was yesterday, Will. When I came back to New Orleans, my doctor asked me, who did this to you? That's what he asked me based on the examination that he did of me. And I think that is why, you know, one of the main reasons why I deeply, deeply, deeply love my son, because it could have been vastly different. And so shout out to the doctors who bring representation into the room and who advocate in the best interest of particularly Black patients, because our voices are oftentimes drowned out, not heard, not respected, not believed. And I think it's important to have folk who are in the field to advocate and speak up and to support us in a way that values our humanity. So I want to thank Dr. Eric Griggs and Dr. Lauren Powell for joining us this morning.
Yeah, that was a great conversation and very important opportunities, one at 4 p.m. Today, and then on Saturday morning at 10, and open to the public. Going to be at the 504 and new facility, so you get an opportunity to get some great information. Here, see Manny Fresh, get some wonderful food, and get some good information and opportunity to ask questions that you might not be comfortable asking elsewhere.
Yeah, and there are a number of educational experiences happening during Essence Weekend. One of them being Beyond the Headlines, a history of the National Association of Black Journalists will be screened for free at the 2025 Essence Film Fest. It is happening Sunday, July 6, 2025 at 12:15 p.m. Central Standard Time at where the La Nouvelle Ballroom, second floor of the Convention Center. The panel discussion will be with past NABJ President Will Sutton and lifetime member Paula Madison to follow. So you want to talk to us briefly about that event that is taking place?
Yeah, this is the 50th anniversary of the National Association of Black Journalists. We started with 44 founding members, and the organization has grown to more than 4,000 members. We are celebrating the 50th year at this Sunday at the festival. The convention will be an additional celebration in Cleveland the first week of August, and then our actually birth date will be in the fall. But for those of you who are not aware of NABJ, or you heard about it or wondering about Black journalists' role in media, know that we are a membership that includes Black media, predominantly white media, other media, independent media. So NABJ includes the diversity that is us, with all of the Blackness that we have and the different approaches that we have with the different objectives that we have with our news gathering. This is a 43-minute documentary. So you can learn a lot about NABJ in a very short period of time. You'll probably even recognize some names or faces, but didn't realize they were part of NABJ. And it's a wonderful opportunity. I want you to meet my sister, Paula Madison. She is a beast. She has been a part of the General Electric board. She has been a part of General Electric NBC for lots of years. She's been general manager of television stations, news director of television stations, internationally recognized. She and her family own the Africa Channel, and her husband, Roosevelt, my brother, who is a former police officer here in New Orleans, went off with a careers elsewhere. He's also a great artist. But Roosevelt wanted to go home. So now she and Roosevelt are back here in New Orleans. And so if you haven't met Paula, I'd be happy to see you, but I really want you to meet Paula, and I want Paula to meet you.
Well, again, there are a number of activities and events and panels and discussions and all sorts of things going on, because this is Essence Week happening today. The Youth Symposium is going on, and that is put on by Councilman Freddie King. It is happening on Basin Street. It's actually taking place this morning. I believe it's going to start at 9 a.m. They're having that Youth Symposium. I'm going to stop by, put my head in the room, and just check it out for a moment before I head home. So if you have an opportunity to engage in any of these events that are actually founded in education, whether it be health education, or any sort of education, please get the information while it's out there. Check your status as it relates to voting and as it relates to your health. We should know what is going on in our bodies, and we should make certain that we know what we can do to participate in our democratic responsibility. And so I know we have a few moments before we have to go to break again, and I want to talk briefly about Laura Loomer. Do you know who Laura Loomer is?
Yes.
And Laura Loomer is a far-right political, they're calling her an activist. I don't know that I would call her that. Conspiracy theorist and internet personality. She was the Republican nominee to represent Florida's 21st congressional district in 2020 in the United States House of Representatives, but she lost to Democrat Lois Frankel. Laura Loomer made a comment on social media, and I want to be very clear about what we're getting ready to talk about, because there is something called Alligator Alcatraz, which is a new migrant detention center in Florida, which is Laura Loomer's home state. The current president on Tuesday visited Alligator Alcatraz, the newest illegal immigrant detention facility in the nation that's located in the Florida Everglades and surrounded by swamplands teeming with alligators and pythons. I want to be very clear about this, people. These folk in Florida, the government in Florida, is selling Alligator Alcatraz merchandise. And the president of the United States is amplifying the idea that migrants can be eaten alive by alligators should they choose to ever try to escape this illegal detention center. Laura Loomer, who hails from the state of Florida, said, "The good news is alligators are guaranteed at least 65 million meals if we get started now."
Yeah, she posted "Alligators' Lives Matter."
She posted.
It's like, that's so crass, ridiculous, inhumane.
Sometimes you have to ask yourself, is this really about politics? Is it really about the idea of making America great? Because she's never been great for those of us who are astute enough to understand the history of this country. But to say something as vile as alligators' lives matter, it's a direct shot at the Black Lives Matter movement, whereby folk had to get out and protest for equitable treatment from law enforcement so that we can have some sort of understanding about why Black folk are dying at the hands of those who are sworn to serve and protect. That is where the movement was birthed. So to then come back and say alligators' lives matter, this has nothing to do with politics. This is not about party lines. This is not about Democrat or Republican. This is a humanity check. This is a heart check. And some of these people are so vile and nasty, you can imagine that they actually hug on children and love on family, have husbands and wives and grandbabies. You couldn't imagine that God would bless that sort of energy with more life. I can't fathom. Because even in my deepest disagreement with folk who my value system doesn't align with. I would never wish death upon them. I would never support the illegal detention of them. I would never champion the cutting of vital resources that will keep them alive, whether it be food, housing, jobs, healthcare. I would never champion the dismantling of anything that helps the most desperate communities of people. I don't understand what is happening to this country. I don't. I can't believe it, I should say. But I can. I can. Because what this is racism. That's what it is. It's racism. This is literally about your disdain for people who don't look like you. So anybody who's not white, wealthy, affluent, because see, even poor white folk are going to soon realize that you are not in that number. And it's not going to take you long either. When they pass this bill, you're going to feel it, and you're going to feel it hard. And you're going to look around, and you're going to have to ask yourself, oh no, you should be able to tell yourself, this is what I voted for. So for this white woman, mediocre white woman, because see, you can't get it with your looks, you can't get it with your body. So now what you're going to do is try to stoke the flames of racism so that the right can look at you and say, yeah, she's one of us. Laura.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think she's sick. And I'm talking about in the worst way. She's sick.
So let me tell y'all a piece of the big ugly bill that I think ties to what we're talking about. These are not just words. They are enacting policy and connecting dollars to it. Because of all of the attention about the Medicaid and, throughout the days, which is hugely, hugely, hugely important. People's lives are at stake. Hospitals will close. People will die. But in that same bill, there is $45 billion for new immigration detention centers. I did not say million. I said $45 billion for new immigration centers. And that's
ICE. ICE.
Right. And so this is a 265% annual budget increase for ICE. 265% budget increase. And it's 62% larger than the entire federal prison system budget. What do you think they're going to do with that money? We're not going to just have facilities in Jenna. We're going to have facilities all over the place. And that much money is going to be building these facilities, basically prisons, at the same time that we're putting people's lives at stake.
And he's also coming after naturalized citizens, and he's doing so under the guise of criminality. If you're a criminal, he's talking about, he's thinking about ways to deport naturalized citizens who have committed crimes. So this lady has been playing with her face at the surgeon because she don't like how she looked. But I wonder if there's a surgeon that could go into her chest and change the way her heart operates, because she is sick. She's a sick individual. And I think this is the sort of person that he allows to espouse the things that he want folk to say, that because he's now getting to the point where he's saying the nasty, vile things. But these are the types of people he employed.
He was down there
to send out to say the nastiest, vilest things. I want to go to the phone lines.
He was down there making jokes.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, John. I see you've been holding quite a while. Larry, good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Hey, guys. How you doing? How you doing, Dr.
Good morning.
Good. How are you?
Yo, the irony of this is that I read it somewhere. I seen it in a documentary that gator bait was the name of slave babies that they fed to the alligators. Now, how irony is that? I can't validate that for sure, but I read it somewhere.
Oh no, that's absolutely true, and that's not by happenstance. This is by design. They're sending a very clear message, very clear.
Baby, so these people, we dealing with some people that's they're different, man. They're different, Dr. Wise. I've always known that they had some differences, but some of the things they're doing, they're putting in law, just ain't. It's just ain't humane. It's something about that ain't humane, and they don't seem to care. Some of our politicians in the state, like you mentioned them before, Cassidy, the other white boy, they just go
Steve
along
Scalise,
with the program
Bill
and go home and
Cassidy.
eat a tuna fish sandwich.
Yes.
So I'm just behooved by that, and I have it takes me back, Dr. Wise, and I say, can people be that inhumane?
Yes, they can.
I see that, man. So I just called you to say, wow.
I appreciate that, Larry. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for calling.
You know how I feel about you now, Dr. Wise. We better leave it alone.
Thank you, Larry. I
All
love
right,
you right
baby.
back. Have a blessed one. John, look, I want to grab you real quick. Good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. Did we lose him?
John?
Look, John, I apologize for leaving you on hold for an extended amount of time. If you can hear my voice, please give us a call back. Jason, hold on for me. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue to talk about it. I hope you continue to listen. I'll catch you on the other side, Jason. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
It's a hot and mostly dry Thursday with highs in the low to mid-90s and feels like temperatures near 100. A few scattered showers and storms are possible for the afternoon. For the 4th of July and this weekend, expect typical summer heat with highs in the 90s and a few pop-up storms each afternoon, but not expecting a washout for the fireworks. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Didn't catch this morning's conversation? No worries. The Good Morning Show is now a podcast on all your favorite apps. Just search WBOK Media, find The Good Morning Show, and make it part of your daily routine. Download it, share it, and rate it 5 stars. Start your day with something real.
Get ready, New Orleans. Join us for the inaugural Blessed 26 Golf Classic, July 5th at Joe Bartholomew Golf Course, 6514 Congress Drive. It's a 4-man scramble format with a 9 a.m. shotgun start. Enjoy great food, music, and a chance to win a brand new car. Register now at blessed26.ticketspice.com. Save the date, Saturday, July 5th for the Blessed 26 Golf Classic at Joe Bartholomew Golf Course. For more information, please call 504-284-9985. See ya on the green.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Morning Show. Happy Thursday, everyone. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my super producer, Nyra Sanders, and our interns behind the glass holding it all together,
team.
and my co-host, Will Sutton. It's been quite
Good
the
morning.
conversation this morning. As you know, each and every Thursday is Congressman Troy Carter Thursdays here at WBOK. So we would like to once again thank our congressman for availing himself to us this morning, as well as Dr. Eric Griggs and Dr. Lauren Powell, talking to us about the Jazz Brunch featuring various health topics for women during Essence Weekend. And the Biogen is the company that Dr. Lauren Powell represents. And the Chat and Chew, a healing space for maternal and mental health, is taking place July 3rd at 4 p.m. At the Shops, 900 Camp Street, New Orleans, Louisiana. And the Black Women's Health and Wellness Brunch and Forum is taking place July 5th at 10 a.m. at 504 Golf and Entertainment, 3800 Howard Avenue, right here in New Orleans. So if you're looking to engage with Dr. Eric Griggs or Dr. Lauren Powell, you have two opportunities to do so. One being today at 4 p.m. at 900 Camp Street, and then again on July 5th at 10 a.m. at 3800 Howard Avenue. So we want to thank them for joining us. And there is a QR code that you can scan and register. Hopefully we can post it on our platforms so that you can just get the flyer and get the QR code to register. So we'll get that posted for you.
And both those events are free?
Shortly, yeah. It's free and open to the public. July 3rd today, 4 p.m. at 900 Camp Street, and July 5th, 10 a.m. at 504 Golf Entertainment, 3800 Howard Avenue. And before the break, we were talking about Alligator Alcatraz, and we missed an opportunity to join in conversation with John. If you can hear me, if you want to call back, please feel free to do so. Jason, good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. How you doing, Dr. Wyatt?
I'm great.
How y'all doing this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I got something quick. When it comes to Laura Loomer and people like her, and let's just say these people, nothing surprises me, because when you really sit down and read their history, not their whitewash history, but the things they have done, it does not surprise me. But one thing I'm going to say, I don't know if you guys ever saw the skit on social media with the comedian Ari Spears. And it's funny, but it also opened your eyes. And in the skit, Ari Spears is saying, white folks has pulled off the greatest Jedi mind trick known to man. I don't know if y'all saw that skit. But basically what Ari Spears was saying is, these people has done the most outrageous things ever in human history. But they have pulled off the greatest Jedi mind trick ever to point the finger at other people, and we never look at them. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I love that skit, because when I hear what y'all talking about this morning, me and my coworkers and guys in the barbershop, we always bring up that one skit with Ari Spears, the comedian, because it's so true. The Jedi mind trick that these people pulled off to make you look at everybody else but them and their real history and the hatred and destruction that follows them. It's like a Jedi mind trick. We don't look at that. We don't look at the history. You know, we're in a country where we're taught never to forget 9/11, the Holocaust. But we as people, we're told, oh, forget about that. That was so long ago.
Yeah.
So that's why I love that skit. And if no one ever saw it, look it up on social media of Ari Spears, because it's priceless, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Good morning, Joanne. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I've been listening to the conversation, and it's very, very interesting. I do read a lot about our history, and a lot of it, what you're saying is so true. I think what bothers me the most is that our children are not getting it. I see it in the school system. I see it in the workplace. I see it in so many places. And I tell young folks, please, listen, breathe. You know how to get on social media. Get on there and learn stuff. Then we have to get these folks out to vote, get these people out and hold them accountable. The things that I've heard, the things that I've read, the things that I see the things that I've gone through because I'm 75 years old. So we did a lot of the integrating back in the 60s and that sort of thing. And I tell kids all the time, they just don't believe, I can't believe that happened to you. I said, yes, I was almost killed 3 times trying to integrate so that you can have a better life. They don't get it. And then I try to make them understand, look at your dress, look at this. People try to have more positive things about yourself because these white folks out here, and I hate to say it, I have to have the philosophy of they're more good people than bad people. I said, if I believe that it's the other way around, hope is all lost. But we as adults, we as people who listen, do research, and live during the times that we live with the things that have happened to us and our families and things that are happening now, we have to, I don't know what else we can do. I talk. Whenever I meet any young person, listen, are you studying your history? I say, if you don't, look at the internet. Pay attention. Look at what's going on. Register to vote. Be active. I actually have meetings with my family, my ex-daughter-in-law, the whole gamut. And we sit down and look at the candidates, look at their history. Who do you think is the best? Get out here and talk to your friends. That's all I have to comment on.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jeff. We appreciate you. Thank you.
You said a lot.
Listen, it's been quite the show. I don't know. I was really hopeful that at least 4 of the Republican lawmakers would stand up and do what's right for the American people, and it just doesn't seem like that is going to happen. And so we want to thank our congressman for coming to us, even though he was in the middle of the vote. It was actually happening while he was on the phone with us. The minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, was on the floor talking at that time. We'll continue to bring you updates as we continue to get them. But as you know, tomorrow is a holiday on the calendar, and so we won't see you tomorrow. We'll see you next week. But please be encouraged. I think it's important right now to tell you how vital and crucial and critical it is to know your voter status, register to vote. Election day here in the city of New Orleans is October 11th. Early voting is September 27th to October 4th. Please make certain that you have not been purged from the records. Next week is a critical week here in the city of New Orleans. It is qualifying, July 9th through the 11th. Things will get real here for us, just as they are getting extremely real for this country. We need you to know who's on the ballot, know who you're voting for, understand their platform and what they're trying to achieve on behalf of the citizenry here in the city of New Orleans. The mayoral seat is up. The assessor seat is up. Civil and criminal clerk of court seats are up. The coroner seat is up. The city council seats are up. Please understand how crucial and vital this election is here in the city of New Orleans. If you are not registered, register. If you don't know your status, check it. And when you go to the polls, bring someone with you. Y'all stay tuned. Up next for the Front Porch with Greelin and Kimba. But as far as the Good Morning Show, Dr. Ashanta White and Will Sutton, we're going to see y'all next week. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
Happy Essence, y'all.
Have you heard